everybody, welcome back to Sunshine Soap and Candle Company. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to make a beautiful anti-aging facial gel. Some of you might be familiar with my Bright Eyes Under Eye Serum, and this can also be used on your entire face, but it was developed specifically to target redness, dark circles, and puffiness. It's infused with jojoba beads and caffeine. Since I published this recipe and video, I've been getting a lot of questions regarding different ways that people can tweak that recipe and add in other types of extracts and things like aloe vera and other anti-aging properties. So this recipe is a bit tricky in a way because it's very pH sensitive, meaning you can't just add anything in there because anything you add in there has to be within a certain pH range or it will cause the gel base to go completely flat. So after lots of experimentation and research, I think I've come up with a formula that you're really gonna like. So in today's video, I'm gonna be sharing with you a full visual step-by-step tutorial and process of how to make this beautiful gel. And if you would like the full written recipe plus tutorial, please head on over to my Patreon campaign where you can unlock this recipe plus 2 years of archived recipes for just a small $5 pledge. And actually included in those recipes is the recipe for the Bright Eyes as well. So you could go in and actually make both of these because a lot of the ingredients are very similar. There really is a ton to take advantage of over on my Patreon campaign, and recently I've teamed up with onlinelabels.com, and right now for existing patrons and patrons who are signing up as part of your Patreon benefits, you will get a $5 or a $10 off rewards code toward any purchase that you make at onlinelabels.com. So if you sign up for the $5 or the $10 tier on my campaign and you use your rewards coupon code at onlinelabels.com, it's basically getting your first month on my campaign free, which is 30 days or so to check out anything you want on my campaign. So it's a really, really good deal. Go ahead and take advantage of it while it's still over there. All right, let's make some facial gel. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be doing for this recipe is creating an aloe vera stock. So basically what that means is this is going to be an aloe vera based gel. So how we're going to do that is we're going to make aloe vera stock with distilled water and aloe vera powder, and I'll show you what that looks like. So we're just going to weigh off some distilled water. Okay, and then to this, we're going to be adding in some aloe vera powder. Now, aloe vera powder, you can get this from makingcosmetics.com, and you've seen me use this before in my face wash, my liquid face wash. So basically, it's a very concentrated amount, and a little bit goes a long way, and it's the 200 times, it's the aloe vera 200 times. So adding this into the water will essentially be like using aloe vera juice, pure aloe vera juice from the plant. So I'm going to go ahead and use my little scale to weigh out what we need here because I think it's a bit more accurate for small amounts. So I'm going to go ahead and weigh out what I need. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just place it into the water. And then we're going to give this a good stir. To incorporate and just to dissolve all of that aloe vera powder. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stir this up and I'll bring you back when it's completely dissolved. Okay, so now that the aloe vera stock is completely hydrated, we're ready to move on to the next step, and that is to create our gel base where we're going to be adding in the rest of the lovely anti-aging ingredients into. So there are two ingredients we're going to be using to create the gel, out of this stock. And just a quick note here before I talk about the ingredients that we're going to be using, and I really don't want to say a whole lot about this. It really is kind of a personal preference thing, but the products that we're making today are not all natural. I am going to be adding in some synthetic ingredients to create the gel base. I just want to say that doesn't equal bad. So these are all formulated for skin, and if you're following usage rates, then you can make a really lovely facial gel. And all natural doesn't always mean 100% good. So just do your research and take a look at the ingredients you're using and make sure that they are right for you. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and use an ingredient to make the gel called Carbomber 940. I've also heard it called Carbomere, and this is what it looks like. It's a very fine, white, fluffy, kind of airborne powder. That's what it looks like. And a little bit goes a long way. However, the thing with Carbomere 940 is you have to adjust the pH. So the pH of my water right now is 3. And this powder will not turn this aloe vera stock into a gel unless we raise that pH a little bit. So we're going to be raising the pH to right around a 5 to 5.5 to create that lovely gel texture. And that will make more sense as we go along, but you will not get a gel without adjusting the pH. And I will show you what that looks like. So we're just going to go ahead and start weighing off our Carbomere. Okay, so I have my Carbomere powder weighed out and ready to go, but it's not really going to hydrate without the pH adjustment. You can add the pH adjustment in after you hydrate this into the water, or you can add in a little bit in before you pour this over, and that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to start to adjust the pH of the water just to kind of hasten that process of the powder getting hydrated into the water. So we are using an ingredient called TEA, and this is just a pH adjuster. So I'm going to go ahead and put in half the amount that I'm going to need. Now, and then I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle, well, let me give this a good stir first. I'm going to stir this up and make sure that TEA is just nice and distributed. It's got a consistency like glycerin, so I just want to make sure it's nice and distributed into this aloe vera stock. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to sprinkle the Carbomere right on top of the water. And it's a quite sticky and fluffy powder. As you can see, it likes to stick to the container. So just make sure, you're trying to get all of it out, because really the smallest amount of this stuff really makes a big difference in your end product. So what we're going to do is we're going to let this sit and we're going to allow it to hydrate, and I will show you what that looks like in just a few minutes. Okay, I'm bringing you back because I just want to show you that it's just kind of floating on the top, and we're getting a little bit of hydration around the edges here, and there is a way you can kind of hasten this process. And one way is just to kind of stir this up. Now being careful not to get it high up on the edges of the glass because it does stick, but just trying to get it down into the water. And it is a lot easier if you add a little bit of that TEA first, because it really does help this to get more hydrated and gel-like in structure a little bit quicker. So you could just allow the powder to absorb. And sometimes when I'm making this stock, this gel base, I let it sit. I make it the night before and I just let the powder sit in the water and hydrate overnight. So this is one way to do it. And as you can see, it likes to stick to the spatulas and the glass. So once you wet it though, it does become less sticky. Okay, so what we're going to do next to just kind of hasten this process is we're going to go ahead and use the stick blender on low, and that will help to hydrate the powder. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and allow this to sit for a little bit longer, because what we're looking for here is all of those white clumps to be completely clear. You're going to have chunks in there like white or clear gel blobs, but you shouldn't see any white clumps like you see right now. So we're going to allow that a few more minutes to go ahead and hydrate, and then I'll bring you back when we're ready for the next step. Okay, I've done a little bit more stick blending here, and I've just gotten all the little white powdery chunks and blobs all mixed in. Now you can see, because I did already add some pH adjustment in there, that a little bit of gel is starting to form here. It's gotten a little bit viscous and it's a little bit gel-like. So what we need to do is go ahead and add in the rest of the pH adjustment to go ahead and get it to the consistency of a gel. Now, if you guys are very familiar with my Bright Eyes Under Eye Gel, that one is more of a serum type consistency. It's pretty loose. This is going to be more like the consistency of aloe vera gel. Okay, so I just need to get some more TEA, and we're going to add the rest in of what we need. I'm going to start there, and it starts to turn into gel. I just am so amazed by that chemical process. So anyway, as you can see, we have come up with a very nice gel base. And we've got just a thick gel. So I'm going to take a few minutes to go ahead and stir this up and just make sure everything is well incorporated, because as this sits for a few minutes, actually it does get a little bit thicker. So I just want to make sure we're at exactly the consistency that we need before moving on to the next steps. Okay, so now that we've had a chance to allow the gel to set up, it's come to a really nice, just kind of aloe vera gel type consistency. So we're going to go ahead and set this aside and then weigh off the additives that we're going to be putting into this gel base. So the first thing I'm going to be adding to this little beaker is something called Tripeptide 5. Tripeptide 5 is a complex made up of 5 different peptides that target anti-aging. So it's made for wrinkles, it's made for after sun and pre-sun type applications. It's great for eye wrinkles, and you can also use it in lip products. So it's a good anti-aging ingredient, and you guys have seen me use it before in some of my other anti-aging products. All right, and then to that, we're going to be adding in some calendula extract. Now, calendula extract is made from calendula petals, which you guys know I really love using calendula petals or marigold in a lot of my infusions, and this one is water-based. So Something that you need to know about this particular recipe is it does have some emulsifying properties, but very little. So you want to make sure what you're adding in here is water-based. We are going to be adding a little bit of essential oil, but not a lot. And also the calendula is great for anti-redness, anti-inflammatory. It's a really nice thing to have in facial care products, just to kind of combat that redness that we can sometimes get, or that inflamed skin. Okay, and then to this we're going to be adding in two more things. So we're going to be adding in some essential oil and some preservative. So because this is a water-based product that we're making, we're going to be using Germall Plus, which is a great broad spectrum preservative used in aqueous solutions or water-based products. Okay. And then we're going to be adding in a little bit of bergamot essential oil. Okay, we're going to give this a stir just to kind of pre-combine the anti-aging additives. And now it's time to go ahead and add it into the gel base. I'm going to give this a good stir by hand, and then I'm going to go ahead and put in the stick blender and just make sure that everything is fully combined. Now, as you can see, I've incorporated some bubbles, and the mixture's gone a little bit white because of the additives that we've used in this formula. And we're going to do one more thing to make this extra special. Now, just like in my under eye bright eye serum, I added in those jojoba beads, and into this one I'm going to be adding in some vitamin E bursting beads. So I'm going to be using some green and blue VitaBurst beads, and I got these from Wholesale Supplies Plus. I actually haven't weighed out the exact amount. I just kind of go by the way that it looks visually. So what happens with these is they go into the formula like a hard kind of bead, and then once they go into the gel, they soften up and they hydrate, so then when you put them on your skin, they immediately burst. And you get a little bit of that vitamin E goodness in your product. Now, I may add more than this, but this is what I'm going to start with. And this is a personal preference, how much you want in there. I'm just trying to do equal parts blue and green. And then I'm going to give this a good stir. Now, this gel base is the only one that I've ever made, the only base that I've ever made that actually holds or suspends the beads. So everything else I've tried, shower gels, they don't hydrate and they don't suspend. They sink to the bottom and they stay hard. So I think Wholesale Supplies Plus actually sells a suspension-based soap specifically made for these. But of the things that I've made, this is the only type of product that they suspend in. Okay, I think I'm going to add just a touch more of each color before we package this up. So if you wait too long to package this too, another thing is because they burst on contact, putting them into the packages can actually cause these little, putting this into the containers that you're going to use can actually cause these little beads to just kind of pop open, which is not a bad thing. It just doesn't look as nice when they're not all fully incorporated and suspended in. All right, and there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my packaging, and I'll show you how we're going to package these up. Okay, so I'm using these cute little 1 ounce PET containers that I got from Nature's Garden, and I just think that the 1 ounce containers, they do hold a little bit more than 1 ounce, probably 1.2 to 1.3, and they're just a perfect size for this type of application. So I'm using this beaker because it's got a little bit of a pour lip on it, and just gently pouring in the gel. And there you have it, everybody. That is how you make a beautiful anti-aging facial gel with a very, very skin-friendly pH that just smells absolutely fresh and bright. I really hope you liked this video. I hope you learned something, and I hope it inspired you. If it did, please remember to give this video a thumbs up. Please leave a comment or a question below, and please subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to share this video with a friend. All right, everybody, catch you on the next video. Keep shining. Stay tuned if you want to see a little bit of a use demo here. Let me go ahead and get these out of the way. Okay, I have a little bit left over in my beaker, and these little beads aren't going to be popping quite yet. They're still hydrating in. That takes probably about an hour or so. So I'm just going to get a bit on my hand, and you would wash your face. And I've been using this at nighttime underneath my serums and creams, and I'm really liking it. But basically you just get a little bit on your finger and you just rub it in. And it is taking a little bit of effort to pop those beads right now, but again, they just go on perfectly smoothly when they're fully hydrated, and they are actually going in pretty good right now as well. But that's how you do it. It's got a nice and cool, refreshing feel to it from the aloe, and it's just a lovely, lovely product to add to your overall skincare routine. All right, bye.